Well, what have we here? We're on our way to, actually I need to put this on as I'm driving. We're just coming into South Carolina right now. Peach stores everywhere. And we are right now just outside of Cowpens.
Oh, okay.
So we are traveling en route to get to my dad's award ceremony, which happens at Clemson University later on today, this afternoon. And it'll be an historic event because my dad has not been to Clemson University in decades, as far as I know.
No, we were with him just a couple years ago for the baseball game at Clemson University.
So this is an historic occasion because we have, I'm just going to rewrite all of this. This conversation never happened.
But fix it in post.
Yeah, so we are on our way there. It's an historic occasion because we haven't been to Clemson in a couple of years since the last family reunion in that neck of the woods, where there's a baseball game and a chance to celebrate with our cousins, Barbara and Barbie. So as of today, my dad will be acknowledged as honorary Clemson alumnus who has had
No, not honorary, because he is an alumnus.
He will be honored as an alumnus of Clemson University and having a very distinguished life. We're going to find out exactly what the look will be when we arrive.
Oh, wait, we could have just read the email.
So we're here at Clemson University, and this is actually the first time in over a decade since I've been at this campus. Braze is leading the way into Brackett Hall, which is where my dad is going to be giving his speech in a matter of moments. So we're here inside the auditorium, the two of us with Mom and Dad.
Unfortunately, but the trees are making that harder to see.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
We were staying in a lovely place, and they took us on a little tour all around, and then they had some students' presentations that were very interesting, and so we heard that, and we had a chance to talk to Christy a little bit and her family, and that was very nice. It was just a day of activity.
Yeah, sounds like a lot of fun. Got the VIP treatment.
Very nice.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you. Thank you, Simms. I'd like to welcome everybody here for the inaugural Psychology Department, inaugural Davenport Scholars and Alumni Award ceremony. My name is Pat Raymark. I'm the current department chair in the Department of Psychology. I am very pleased to welcome you here today. Grateful that you have taken the time and effort to show up at our inaugural ceremony. I'd like to begin by briefly describing why we are here today and provide a little bit of expectation of how this ceremony is going to progress. First of all, the Psychology Department is quickly approaching its 50th anniversary. Think about that for a moment. From its very modest beginnings, we've grown and grown and grown to the point where we are now one of the largest and most productive departments on this entire campus. At the broadest level, today's ceremony is meant to do three things. First, the ceremony is intended to recognize and to celebrate our departmental history. To that end, we'll be presenting our inaugural Distinguished Alumni Awards. Very excited about this. Secondly, the ceremony is intended to recognize and celebrate our current set of outstanding students. To that end, we'll be inducting our first class of Davenport Scholars, who are seated over here. Third, the ceremony is intended to bridge our past and our present, providing our celebrated alumni with an opportunity to meet our exceptional students, at the same time providing inspiration to these students when they hear about the wonderful impact that our alumni have had in their careers. Before presenting our Distinguished Alumni Awards, I'd like to provide a little bit of background on how this came about. A few months ago, we reached out to all of our psychology alumni and asked them to update us on the wonderful things that they have been doing. We included a link to a survey asking them what they'd been up to, and the response was outstanding. I was blown away at the number of responses and the quality and the interesting accomplishments that our alumni had been doing over the years. It was humbling and inspiring to read about these accomplishments, and I felt that I needed a way to let other people know about these things. We immediately came up with the idea of honoring these outstanding individuals via an Alumni Distinguished Award.
Sorry.
There's one of ours right there.
There's one in every class.
Mea culpa.
I will soon be formally introducing both of our alumni recipients, but at this point I'd just like them both to stand so we can all welcome them back to campus. First of all, retired Lieutenant Colonel Simms Anderson, class of 1970. And Christy Rogers, class of 2002. So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce our first Psychology Department Distinguished Lifetime Achievement Award recipient, retired Lieutenant Colonel Simms Anderson. Come on up, Simms. Simms' family tree has extremely deep roots at Clemson.
It does.
In fact, his great uncle, after whom he's named,
Yes.
enrolled in Clemson in 1912, became captain of the Clemson baseball team, and graduated with a degree in civil engineering in 1916. Back then, baseball was played over on Bowman Field, if you believe that. See interesting pictures of that. Simms first saw our beautiful campus in the summer of 1953 at the age of 8.
Yes.
Don't want to give away your age there.
Yes.
And he decided at that point he wanted to go to college here. Simms grew up as an Army brat, moving from base to base throughout the United States and West Germany during his childhood. While in West Germany in the late 50s, he became aware of the Soviet Union's tyrannical occupation of Eastern Europe and of America's central role in preventing further communist expansion. This was a life-altering experience which would later prompt Simms to enroll in Clemson's Reserve Officer Training Corps. Simms enrolled in Clemson in 1967 and was part of the first cohort of 15 students on our campus to declare a major in psychology. How about that? From 1968 until graduating in 1970, he was an undergraduate teaching assistant with an office in the basement of Hardin Hall, next door, the first home of the psychology department. Simms graduated from Clemson in 1970 as a distinguished military graduate with a commission in the United States Army in the branch of military intelligence, and a Bachelor of Arts degree in psychology cum laude. He was subsequently trained by the Department of Defense and the Central Intelligence Agency in human intelligence, and deployed to Vietnam to effect covert intelligence gathering for the United States. Eventually, he became the chief of planning for the U.S. military support to civilian authorities for the 12 western contiguous United States before retiring from the U.S. Army in 1994. It is my immense pleasure to present the inaugural Psychology Department Distinguished Lifetime Achievement Award to retired Lieutenant Colonel Simms Anderson.
Quite nice. I am humbled and very proud to be here and to be the first recipient of the Alumni Distinguished Career Award. Gosh, I'm looking out at all the beautiful ladies in the room here. When I began at Clemson in 1967, the ratio of men to women on campus was 12 to 1. 12 to 1. When I left in 1970, ladies were coming very quickly to the campus. The ratio had come down to 6 men to 1 female. But I'm glad to see now we are well beyond the 50-50 level, and we probably have a preponderance of ladies at Clemson University, certainly here in the room. My congratulations sincerely to all the honorees today. You are being honored in the name of a tremendous professor, Jack Davenport, who was a heck of a man. as well as a great professor, a very generous man as well, but wholly concerned with the welfare of his students and in teaching them a great education in psychology. Jack was more than that. He was a tremendous warrior in his day, receiving the Silver Star for actions in combat in Germany in the year 1945. He was with the 3rd Armored Division, as your pamphlet tells you. I need to let you know, because we all go through certain traumatic events in our lives that tend to shape us. The action for which he was given the Silver Star, he was blown off of 4 tanks that he was in charge of. The 5th tank was destroyed without his being on it. He then walked forward. It was an attack that morning out of a Belgian apple field. Toward the river that they were attacking toward, a German soldier rose up and shot him through the chest. And that was the end of the Second World War for Jack. But for that action, in his continuing his attacks, he received the Silver Star. We were honored to have him, the level of man that was a teacher, professor of psychology here at Clemson, and I honor his memory with you today. I would also like to address Dr. Bernard Caffrey, the one who came here in 1967 to establish the psychology department of Clemson University. He brought with him a tremendous record of academic accomplishment. He was instrumental in the study of the type A, type B personality. I don't know if you folks study that still in your psychology courses, but this was essentially a study of cardiovascular events attributable to personality, and to parse out what personality was, to control for all other events, and just use personality as the Y variable. He interviewed and did assessments of Trappist monks in monasteries who had a controlled diet and a controlled environment, and was able to tease out personality types then rather purely in his estimate of what was going on with cardiovascular incidents. I was an officer of the Army in Europe when the Stars and Stripes published a newspaper with Dr. Caffrey's article on the first page, saying that the most important attribute of selection of future astronauts for long voyages would be their personality types. Could they get along over the months and perhaps the years that it would take to get from the Earth to wherever they were going? Dr. Caffrey essentially established psychology here with a hiring of Jack Davenport, Spurgeon Cole, and then a list of other professors, one of whom is here today, Ned Breiter, who has now had 45 years of contiguous service here with the psychology department. A little bit about my career in the intelligence field. I was involved in human intelligence. Human intelligence is the study of individuals who have placement and access to information which is desired by the United States government. Oh, and then their recruitment, their training, and their use. Another way of stating that is espionage. And that's illegal to do in the continental United States, but we can do it overseas, and we do. We still do. We did it then, we do it now. And I have had tremendous experience within this select, rather isolated and dark field. The stationing of myself within the organization that did the spying overseas brought me into contact with many who had been involved since the Second World War, one of whom was Manfred Isserman, who was an interrogator at the war crimes trials in Nuremberg after the war, and who became an expert in intelligence thereafter. I met and married his daughter, who is sitting here today, Marion, perhaps the highlight of my life in intelligence. So thank you very much for the award. I will leave it at that, and what a great looking award this is.
Simms.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure getting to know you, and you've just heard a fraction of the stories that he's capable of telling.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to hearing some more tonight. Great. Thank you. Thank you, Christy. Thank you, Simms. Two wonderful, very different stories. Hopefully you can draw inspiration and motivation from both of them. I think wonderful individuals, and again, very proud to call both of you part of our Clemson Psychology family. So at this point, I'd like to transition to the Davenport Scholar part of the ceremony. To begin, let me tell you a little bit about the namesake of this award, and Simms has already beat me to the punch on a little bit of this, but I'll go through my spiel anyways. Okay. Dr. John Douglas Jack Davenport was a professor of psychology and the second chair of the Clemson University Psychology Department, serving from 1976 to 1980. He later served as the Director of Psychological Services at Redfern Health Services. He retired in 1990 as Emeritus Professor of Psychology. Prior to his academic career, Dr. Davenport served in the U.S. Army, 3rd Armored Division, in 4 campaigns in Germany during World War II. He received the Purple Heart with Oak Leaf Cluster and the Silver Star for Valor, and attained the rank of captain. It is in recognition of his extremely valuable contributions to the department, the university, and our country that we have chosen to honor him in naming this annual award. Dr. Davenport passed away in 2007 at the age of 85. However, I am very pleased to note that he is represented here today by his daughter, Jane Davenport, and his son, Chris Davenport. Would you please stand? We all thank you and thank him for his influence and his integrity and his character in shaping this department and helping us get to where we are today. At this point, I'd like to introduce 2 psychology faculty members who will help me with the award ceremony. First of all, I'd like to introduce Dr. Cindy Perry. Cindy, over here. She's our undergraduate program coordinator, and I'll credit as the one who had the original idea for generating this award. So thank you, Cindy, for that. Next, I'd like to introduce Ned Brainerd, down here. Ned has served on various department, college, and university awards committees for more years than we can perhaps count. He also has a distinction, as noted earlier, as being a young faculty member when Jack Davenport was a department chair here. So I'd like to have Ned first come up and speak about his thoughts on Jack, and then he will also be reading the names of our awardees. Ned.
Well, thank you very much. This is nice to see such a group here, and many of the students I know and have had in class. This is absolutely great. Plus that, I'm on my home ground here. This is the classroom that I normally teach in. And there's something that's very different that doesn't normally happen. You guys are awake and happy. I don't know if I can get used to that or not, but I will certainly try my best. I would just like to add my experience with Jack Davenport. That when I met Jack in August of 1973. He was an older faculty member. He was not yet chair of the department, and I was hired in a somewhat tenuous position. That actually, what had Simms, my wife actually received a job offer from Clemson first. And they were kind of wondering what to do with me. I was kind of a tag-along, so they made me a visiting lecturer. Now, at the time, visiting lecturer was one step above itinerant laborer. And you had your contract looked at and renewed. I think every couple of seconds they checked to see if they still wanted you. But I really loved Clemson when I got here. I mean, it was just perfect. A beautiful campus. We had small classes. wonderful, polite students compared to other schools that I had taught in. And above all, we had a faculty who really enjoyed each other, that we had get-togethers and nice parties and things regularly. And I thought I would really like to stay here. But being a visiting lecturer was not a permanent pass to Clemson at this particular time. And I wanted a little bit of help. So I checked with the faculty, and I kind of confided in Jack, and he seemed friendly and warm, and Jack put in a tremendous amount of time helping me with good advice on what courses to take, how to make myself valuable to the department, things that I should and shouldn't do. And also, by the way, how to deal with our dean at the time, who was, quite frankly, somebody who scared the daylights out of me when I had to deal with him. I would put off going up to the office as long as I could, pacing back and forth, thinking what I was going to say. A very stern gentleman. But Jack kind of groomed me for what I should be doing. And I really attribute the fact that I'm still here today to Jack Davenport. And I was not the only one who received this kind of help from Jack. He was one of the most generous people that I know, who was spending time with people, students who needed help with courses, could go in, talk with him, career advice and such, other faculty members who were trying to, were more or less also looking to be tenured and stay on. He spent a lot of time with. He was just one of the kindest, gentlest, most concerned people that I know, and I treasure the time that I had with Jack. He was an absolutely wonderful person. And by the way, I would really be remiss if I didn't say something about Jack's wife, Sarah Davenport. That I got to know her through the department get-togethers and such. And she was one of the most graceful, elegant women that I know. Just absolutely a superb person as well. My experience with the Davenports is something that I will honestly remember forever. He was an exceptional person. Wow, that's all I've got to say.
That's great.
Normally I have a lot more to say up here, but we do have some business that we have to get down to. We have our talented Davenport scholars, our very first class of scholars, and I have instructions that I'm supposed to read, and the instructions are, after I call your name, please come forward and get your honors cord and medallion. And then please place the medallion upon yourself. Cindy, can you demonstrate how this is to be done? In this fashion. Not around the waist, which was my guess, but then go over and have your picture taken over here with Pat, and then return however you can get back over there to your seat when you are down there, up and around. By the way, there's a bet in the psychology department. We have 50 people here, and people are betting how many names I will mispronounce. Apparently they seem to be pretty much in agreement that 15 names will be mispronounced. But I promise you that I will do my very best.
As we wrap up our ceremony, I want to extend my appreciation to all the family members and other guests for showing up, spending your time and effort to be here today to help us celebrate these wonderful Davenport scholars as well as our two outstanding alumni. Thank you for showing up. It's very much appreciated, your support and encouragement. We are so fortunate to not only have the best students on campus, but also the best alumni. We thank the awardees for their dedication, hard work, and commitment to making Clemson University the best it can be. As a department, we will continue to prepare our students for the future and to engage our alumni with lifelong relationships. It is my expectation that all the Davenport Scholars here will someday make us proud, and I hope that someday in the future you'll be able to return to campus, receive your alumni award for outstanding career accomplishments. This concludes our inaugural Davenport Scholar and Distinguished Alumni Ceremony. Please join us immediately outside for a reception in the atrium. Otherwise, thank you for everything that you do, and go Tigers!
Well, the event was a success, and we're off to go check out the reception. And here at the reception, these guys are going to go off to dinner pretty soon, but as for Braids and me and about 100 other people, we've got quite a selection. Quite a aperitif you've got going on, Braids.
Not sorry.
I love that girl. Wow. By all means,
document everything.
You know, there's a certain charm to it, although you can get known as the most annoying guy around. The food here is good, but what I'm really impressed by is the fact that even at an undisclosed age that is past 70, that my dad is currently in, he is incredibly talented at talking, and even after sharing words with an auditorium full of people, he has not gotten his fill, and is constantly congratulated by folks and keeping up his usual MO for conversationalism. It's beautiful in bloom. I can see why Dad really enjoyed being here.
I went here, obviously. I would be.
Yeah, I don't need you to finish that end of that sentence, Braids.
I said, they're lucky I'm in a dress and heels, so that tree would be climbed.
Braids has a discerning eye for arboreal landscape. It was a great event, and now we're on our way back after stopping at Chick-fil-A, where Braids has herself a nice key lime milkshake. Just wanted to point out here at this gas station, all over Clemson, there are these humongous tiger prints. I mean, I'm gonna conservatively estimate it's gotta be like a 30-foot tiger that's dipping its paws into orange paint and it has the run of the place. It always goes in the same direction too. It's a really strange MO. Keeping my eyes open. Toward the end of today, it was a good day. It was really good to see my dad get a Lifetime Achievement Award, a career recognition of exemplary use of his psychology degree. And Braids and I now have a 5.5 hour drive back.
This is very good frosted key lime lemonade.
Is it lemonade or milkshake?
Limeade.
So we're driving out of Clemson now, and we're enjoying the scenery. A lot of school spirit. Wow, not used to this. Orange everywhere.
It's a little creepy.
Clemson, tiger, orange signs. This will be the end of our trip, but hope you enjoyed it.